So those are the classes I'm teaching this year. Let's see. On the back of the 4-year plan, I will need someone to sign it off. But are there any questions on this one?
So when we get to the consent agenda, we can approve it.
Oh, okay.
It was it's a lot of brief overview of like wanting to continuing offering certain classes or continuing to attend conferences and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty basic on that one.
Do we need a motion to approve it or just?
We gotta wait.
I think we're supposed to wait till we get to the consent agenda, and then we can approve it by letter.
Okay.
She's gonna go over the CTE program evaluation too.
Okay. Perfect. All right.
Okay, is this the next packet?
Okay, this is the next big packet.
Okay, the public
The bigger one.
Okay, got it.
So this is the program eval. So I went over both of these with the advisory board meeting last week. This one has to do with following more of like frameworks, making sure I have my certain teaching endorsements, that I'm following the standards, that we're offering classes to all students, non-discriminatory. Along those lines, I think I want to say the biggest thing with this one has to do with I need to get my frameworks updated, and that's going to be an ongoing thing throughout this school year. Last year we submitted them and they had all gotten approved, but because we switched to having like the animal husbandry class this year, and then the middle school ag class is more of an intro to ag, I need to get those 2 frameworks updated. I want to say ag business has been offered in the past with Lisa Baser, but I could be wrong.
Which one was it? I'm sorry.
Ag business.
Yeah,
Or
I
did
think so.
Weston Kane have that one too? I don't remember. I know they were up there.
There's been a lot of frameworks. for that.
Okay,
So,
yeah, they just need to be reapproved, but that one or those are the 2 main ones that need to be updated anyhow. I'm trying to think of the other main highlights in this bigger packet. Student access to program, just getting students involved in FFA and in CTE, and I'm trying to find their interests for this year. I'm hoping to maybe take some on some like industry tours. I would like to do that and get into contact with people just so we can give them some more hands-on or more career scene opportunities, I would say.
That's great.
Yeah. Any questions on this one? Okay.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
It's
Any
good
other
to see you at
questions?
fair. We're a good support.
Are there any other questions with any of the other FFA or in-class stuff at all?
I don't.
You're good.
Doing great.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Consent agenda. A, CTE for your plan.
Oh, okay. I'll make a motion to, I'll make a motion to approve the CTE 4-year plan as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the CTE for your plan as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes.
Yeah, the next one she did was F,
Okay,
CTE program evaluation.
can we just do it? Okay, consent agenda, F, CTE program evaluation. I have a motion to approve that.
I move we approve consent agenda F CTE program evaluation as presented.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the CTE program evaluation as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. Now move back up to B, ASB advisor.
I think that's Colby.
We'll be starting with the $1,000 stipend a year.
Are they sharing it this year or just Cody?
It's just Colby, they're gonna help him out, but
Okay.
he's large and in charge.
Okay, okay.
I I move we approve consent agenda B, Colby Starring as the ASB advisor with $1,000 stipend.
It's been moved and seconded to accept Colby Starring as the ASB advisor with $1,000 stipend. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. Consent agenda C, volleyball coach stipend change.
Yeah, you guys approved Sandy Martin and her stipend already. At the time, didn't really know what junior high was going to entail, and after some Sandy approaching Doug and I about where she should be placed on this salary schedule, we updated the salary schedule, and we agreed she had more experience. So originally she was at $2,411, we moved her up to $2,729. And we do have a set salary schedule now for junior high athletics, which we didn't have before because it's been so long. So I think Doug and I just kind of sat down and figured out where it should be with Jeff Gates' help. And even though I don't have that here, but eventually we'll get that approved once we know that's where it should be for sure. So.
Alright, I'll make a motion to approve the volleyball coach stipend change for Sandy Martin to $2,723.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to update the volleyball coach stipend for Sandy Martin to $2,729. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. D, long-term sub.
Yes.
Correct. Well, it's
Yeah.
It's not funny.
Caitlin Clinton, and her salary for her time here is going to be $15,513.60. She's placed at MA +0 with 3 years experience on her salary schedule, which puts her at that. What we do and what's written is the first 20 days they get paid regular sub pay. So we included, and I talked to Teresa about this, and we went ahead and included her 2 in-service days as part of that 20 days. So, and then after that, she gets placed on her regular salary schedule. So this $15,000 is where she would be with the first 20 days, and then her salary schedule for the remaining time.
I move we approve consent agenda D, the long-term sub for 5th grade, Caitlin Clinton, $15,513.60.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the long-term sub for 5th grade, Caitlin Clinton, in the amount of $15,513.60. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. E, basic education minimum requirement report.
Tanya and I worked on this. I collaborated with the teachers that were the parts, because it's all across the board, everything. So we entered it all. It spits back at you. Did you really mean to say no on this one? Did you really mean to say no on this one? The only 2 things that we had to say no to were, let's see, I know I'm probably going to be out of order, but question 52 was an RCW that requires school districts to collaborate with any federally recognized Indian tribe within their district and with neighboring Indian tribes to incorporate expanded and improved curricular materials about Indian tribes. And I just answered no, and I asked Jeff for some help on that, and I said the district has updated its social studies curriculum since July 24th, 2015, but did not collaborate with Indian tribes for curricular materials or create culture exchange programs. And then it kind of says why, and or it says, anyway, we said we're unsure due to our geographical location, basically who to use, and we do not have any federally recognized tribes nearby. So just honest, I mean, that was the way it was.
Yep.
And then the other one is 68. In the 25-26 school year, will the school district provide all high school students the opportunity to access an elective computer science course that is aligned to the state learning standards for computer science or math? Jeff is teaching a little tech class, but it's not necessarily aligned to standards. So I just said, no, we don't offer this opportunity in our high schools. And then 69, I said, we do not have a computer science instructor. So those were the only two that like came up at the end once we hit submit. I don't think it warrants anything, but that's just two things that we can't fulfill. So.
We just have to approve this, all good?
Right, staff approved.
Make a motion to approve 6E as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the basic education requirement report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. F, G, policy 3241, 3241P, 3241F, 3241F2, third read.
I believe those are the student discipline.
It was, yeah, student discipline procedure, I think.
This is third reading.
Does anything jump out at us on the policies?
I can tell you this, I haven't looked at it. I'll be honest, that hasn't been high on my agenda. So Doug came to me today and I said you would probably have questions and I don't have time.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to table it, if you want to approve it, that doesn't matter to me.
Go on for that one. Wait on these. Do you have any questions? What do you want to?
Well, it seems like I'd feel better if our principal had that at the door before we approve it, so now we can table that.
Okay. Thank you.
So we have to do a motion to table
You think so?
So I move that we table item 6G, policy 3241, 3241P, 3241F2, student discipline procedure and matrices, third reading.
Second.
I move. It's been moved and seconded to
What'd she say?
table policy 3241, 3241P, 3241F2, student discipline procedure and matrices to the fourth reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. That's a tongue twister.
That was.
All right. So H, policy 2161P, which is special education services for eligible students.
This is what we went over last month, but we didn't have any information, right? We didn't have any changes. Okay, so you want to.
I'll be honest, I haven't looked at any policies, so if you want to table them all, or if you want to, it doesn't matter to me.
I think this one, the only change was that, instead of special education being cut off at age 21, they moved it through the 21st year, so it's when they turn 22. So we have to service kids until
I
they
do
turn
remember
21.
I
that.
remember that too.
You are correct, thank you, Tanya.
Yes.
Yes.
I need the I need the switch.
I think we decided that was the only.
That is the
change
only
to that.
switch, is that the age changed. So basically, they don't cut a kid off in February if they turn 21, they get to serve them through the entire school year.
I feel comfortable. Approve that one. You guys have any questions? Mary wasn't here, so.
I move we approve consent agenda H, policy 2161P as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve policy 2161P as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. I, policy 2410P, which is high school graduation requirements.
Table that one. Okay.
Motion table.
I move that we table consent agenda I, policy 2410P, high school graduation requirements.
Second.
Yes. It has been moved to table policy 2410P, high school graduation requirements to the third reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. J, policy 3143, notification of the dissemination of information about student offenses and notification of threats of violence or harm. Second reading.
Can they ban that?
Yeah, no, I don't.
What about the last one? You want to take
Yeah,
them all
probably
together?
should.
No, that's the first reading, that's the first reading.
Oh, okay, all right. I move we table consent agenda J, policy 3143, as presented.
It has been moved to table policy 3143, which is consent agenda J, as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
I was gonna think you missed out on that.
All right, consent agenda K, policy 2020 and 2020P, first reading.
And this is,
I have information on that one.
Okay.
You want to turn to your, or like where it's at.
Okay.
Go over to the-
Which one are we on first here?
The 20.
P or
Just
2020? Okay.
Yeah, this is the first reading. On the first page, on the next to last paragraph, where it says supplemental instructional materials, that's new language in underneath that section. And the only thing I could find that was different was where it says, instructional materials are used in conjunction with the core instructional materials of the course that are not expressly required by the district and/or, then the next part's added, instead selected at the teacher's discretion. So that's new wording there. Then the rest of the paragraph is the same as the original one. That's the only change on the first page. On the second page, under section 3, where it says selection and adoption of instructional materials, that's new language, but I didn't underline the part that was new. I know that they added something to it, but that's new. There's new language in that too. In that section. If we approved this in 2019, the one that we have now. Most of the changes have to do with the 2020P under the procedure. If you want to turn it out, I can show you that. I can tell you what the new language is. And there's nothing on the first page. Oh no, there is. Where it says new courses of major modifications to existing courses. Where it says the superintendent or designee shall review course offerings that part designee parts new. On the second page, under that graph, you go down to the next to last paragraph. That whole paragraph is new. It reads, the district will collaborate with OSPI on instructional areas regarding tribal government and history that are statewide in nature, such as the concept of tribal sovereignty and a history of federal policy toward federally recognizing your tribe. I'm assuming that's kind of what Chris is talking about.
I was gonna say.
Yep.
It's matched up language with that. Okay, on the third page, under core instructional materials, paragraphs 3 and 4 have been added to the original document. Where it says in alignment with 28A, 220.230, those two paragraphs have been added.
And which paragraphs are where you say
What's that?
3A, 3A,
Yeah, 3A paragraphs 3 and 4 are added. to the document that we approved in 2019. Adopting curriculum is a pretty deal right now. Teresa gave me a directive that came down from LaCrosse-WA that this had to be presented to the board by October 1st. Like I said, instructional materials are kind of a hot topic right now, so everywhere. So
Why do you think that is? Why would
I think-
instructional materials be at the forefront?
I don't know, it just is. I mean, like when you listen to the legislative, talk about everything, they talk about, they seem to be more proactive, being involved in the academic part of the instructional materials. When I looked at it, I didn't study it real hard. I just looked for different paragraphs, but like those things right there don't impact it too much. The ones I'm going to go over in a minute do, because they have the parents' rights to complain, appeal, those kind of things, which I think is part of the Clark rights. Something that's on topic right now. If you want to turn to the page where it starts out with K, protest procedure for core instructional materials. Those 1, 2, 3, and 4 have all been added. Like it's a different procedure. Starts out by submitting this is if there's a complaint or a protest procedure for the core materials. So it gives the process for submitting the complaint, seeking resolution, committee review, and then the appeal process. That involves both the parent and the teacher using the review material.
So, do we need to have an IMC committee, or is you come up with a committee this about?
Well,
The IMC will provide a written decision. So going back here, it talks about the IMC committee.
The instructional materials.
Yeah, but
Do we have one of those?
that's what I'm saying. Is that a requirement? Do we need to have that on paper, who's on that committee?
I don't know, in my past practice, you ask a parent to be, we don't have the same committee every time.
Oh,
My guess is this whole movement has to do with health education
Okay.
and what's going on in that realm, which we don't have to worry about. Cindy has it under control, but that's my guess why the push for this is because there are a lot of different views out there in bigger districts on what health education looks like.
So do you feel, so this whole thing's about health education?
No, it's about all curriculum, but I think that that's why there's a push for a generalized. You know what I mean? To put all curriculums that way, but to especially make sure there's a structure in approving any curriculum.
And if you look at number 1 under the protest procedure, it says a parent may submit a written complaint about core instruction materials to the principal of the school where materials are being used. That gives the parent the right to express his concern and make a complaint.
Could they not do that before?
They do it at the board meetings. So it takes up some time. So there's no
So now we start with the
policy
principal.
process.
A written complaint to the principal.
Okay,
So their meetings aren't.
You're in a
4 hours
meeting
long
with parent,
because
principal,
there's-
teachers.
that many people.
Right.
Okay,
I don't know if you guys have seen that.
So that's all, that's that whole section.
yes, I see what you're saying.
And I think that's why.
It's about the procedure.
They do it.
Right.
Okay.
So they're giving the parents a voice through a policy to do it in an organized way instead of just coming up.
There is a section earlier that did not change from earlier where it talks in that the parents want to preview suggested materials or proposed materials. But that's not a change, that's always been.
Okay.
So like if we were gonna, let's say we're gonna adopt a new biology book, try to curriculum, if a parent wanted to, if a parent wanted to come in and ask to say, I want to see it.
Right.
But this is about if you actually file the book. of this section right here. Does that make sense? At least that's my understanding.
Okay.
But it does seem, if we are not gonna have an IMC, then we need to change our policy and take that out. Because that's pretty prevalent in this. So if we're not gonna
This
do it,
committee,
then we should take it out.
But then if we do this, then we have to, they can't come to the board then, right? We have to follow this procedure.
Well, it
They have
says
to
in
go to the principal
alignment,
first,
the
instead of coming here.
IMC will include the following: a representative, members from the district's professional staff, including those involved in curriculum development, and one or more parents of enrolled students, ensuring that the parent members make up less than half of the committee's total membership. For districts with elementary schools only, blah, blah. So this kind of explains who needs to, right? But it does say there needs to be like meetings.
That's what I'm saying, we don't have an IMC, so that
Right.
it's just like, seems like a lot more of another committee that we have to have paperwork on. To
They
me,
may
so.
call special meetings, yeah.
Which I like the idea of parents being on this
Mhm.
committee.
That helps protect
I
things.
think, in my opinion, that's the structure we're gonna use. I don't know that we've ever formally called, I don't know I've been anywhere that it's been formally called that. But I like the idea of having a parent on it as well. I don't know when the last formal curriculum adoption has been here. I know reading was in the elementary was, I think, the last, it's been a while. So it's been a while, but we're moving forward and looking at that, so that might be something that we want to ensure. I think that's just a formality, like, if we had a district of 10,000, it might be something that we had to have that form, make sure that formal process was, had words, you're on the IMC.
Right.
Yeah, alright, just making sure.
Yeah.
We gotta, the policy, we gotta do it the
Yeah,
right way
when we
here.
adopt the policy, we should follow the policy.
We gotta follow that.
I like that.
So-
So we make sure that we have a committee that has a parent on it.
Yeah.
When we-
Is the superintendent or designee will appoint members through the district's committee process. The board must approve membership. Says the chairperson and the secretary will be permanent members of the committee. Other members will have a 3-year term. Temporary appointments of 1 year or less
I
may
agree
be
on that.
made to fill.
We probably need to go through that to make it
Yeah.
for LaCrosse.
Yeah, okay, that's what,
How's that?
this was very, okay, that's
Yeah.
good, it's first reading, yes, first reading,
Don't need a
okay.
board inside of a board.
When you get down to 5, where it talks about alternative for
That's what I'm
instructional
saying.
materials, it
Yeah,
really
that's what I
talks
was
about
like,
the superintendent shall delegate responsibility for examining, evaluating, and selecting all supplemental and temporary supplemental materials to the principal or professional staff of the district. This includes preparing all students' reading lists. So they kind of go down to that last paragraph. Materials and give due consideration to the text complexity, developmental level of students, appropriateness of language or images, bias against racial, gender, ethnic, or other social groups, and other sensitive issues. So, and just that last page.
that very last,
It looks
yeah.
like it gives a little bit more
Okay.
authority, I guess, to admin.
Yeah, on the last page, we're under B, request for review and removal of supplemental instruction materials, that's all new. That process, that wasn't in the 2019 version, where a parent may submit a written request to review and remove supplemental instruction materials to the applicable teacher and principal. So that process was not in the 2019. That I can see. And then CE resolution, principal's decision, and then the appeal process is the same as that it goes to the It's similar to,
But, so this, so this parent can come in, and just say, I don't want this in this curriculum, and we go through this and then it's out, but it's out, or it comes to our level then? I guess I'm.
No,
does it
The
go to the
superintendent's got
committee?
final say. After the IMC and everything, the
It's
superintendent's got the final say.
Okay,
if you remember last year, this was a big deal in school camp, or what's the Central Valley, lost his job. So this last summer, it's when
added all this.
they added all this language.
Okay.
And I think some of it was to give parents a say and a voice. I mean, that's the way I'm reading it, that's the way I'm taking what I'm reading, I'm sharing with you, is that this was a way to give the parents a voice. It's kind of like in years past, when the English teachers said they were going to be talking about them, and there was racial slurs, and people were complaining, who knows about it. So it kind of is a more specific avenue to follow. In fact, I think the Huckleberry thing might have been the thing that happened to us last spring. That was, anyway, this first reading.
Sounds good. Okay.
Communications to the board, capital levy.
Jeff, you're on. Okay, Tanya and I, we had the same lawyer ever since I've been superintendent. Most of the time I was principal. His name was Jim McNeil, never talked to Garden. He retired last year. So we were assigned a new attorney, and Tanya and I talked to that person today because we wanted to make sure that we were on time to run a new levy so that we didn't lose any, like there would be a gap in funding. That's always, ever since I've been there, that was, if we're gonna run a levy, we try to make sure there's not a gap in funding. And the current levy we have for the capital levy, not the UPL levy, but the capital levy pays up through 2026. Okay, so that's on the levy that we connect. So if we want to continue receiving capital levy to do a capital project, we need to run a levy next year in order to continue that so we don't have a break. We have two options. One is to run it in February 10th. The other one is to run it sometime after that. They said there's a possibility you can run it in April or November. Our history in the past is to either run it in February or run it in November. The advantage to run it in February is if it does happen to fail, then you can run it again in November. Does that make sense? So the last time we ran it in November. That had something to do with different timing. But a new person is actually out of Seattle, where Jim McNeil was out of Spokane. He said that that everything, as far as timing, the deadline is December 12th, and you work backwards from there. And so today, when Greg Castelaw came out to the walkthrough with us, we asked Greg to give us a quote on how much it's going to cost, like a quote, how much it costs to fix it. That wouldn't be the actual bid, that would be a quote that we could use to write up the capital levy. And so in the November board meeting, if we want to run a capital levy in February, we have to pass the resolution with a project description at the November meeting. Because the December 12th deadline is prior to the December board meeting. The December board meeting is December 15th. And so we have 2 months. We have October and November to decide, number one, if we want to do a capital levy, what the capital levy would be fair. When we had Greg come out today, and I wanted him to come out a week or so ago, but he couldn't. So today was his first day he's available, is to look at the repairs that you guys looked at tonight, because that could add up to some money. And so when I talked to Hunter Peterson, the guy that wrote the planning grant for us, for the $6 million one, he suggested that we run a capital levy anyway. Even if you don't know for sure all the things that you're going to spend it on, write up a resolution that could include all the things you want to spend it on. Because hopefully we'll get the $6 million, like we'll be on the list for this next year, 2026, but it's not guaranteed. Tony and I listened to Zoom today from the people that are on those committees. Scott Black, Randy Newman, and what's the lady's name? Just-
Yeah, well, and they're saying that it's probably gonna be 27, 29 by NEM, it's not gonna be in 26. That we would get that funding.
But anyway, and I did email them to find out, like, when they're gonna come up with the next list. I just haven't heard back yet. But his advice was to run a capital levy. Because then if you have to wait another year, then at least you have some money coming in, there's no break if you want to use it on something. And the last two levies that we ran have been identical. They've been 3-year capital levies for $1.1 million, which gave us $366,000, for 3 years. You can run them for as long as, he said you can run them up to a maximum of 6 years if you want to. But he said, but we've only been doing 3 years at a time, and then we collect the money. The capital levy is set up so it's different than a bond. Like a bond, you borrow money, it's a bigger number, and you start spending money that you pay for over the course of years. The third behind the capital levy that we've always been able to sell our people on is that we spend what we have cash. We get the cash, and then we go forward, get the cash, and we go forward. So I guess tonight, we don't really need a resolution or anything, but we just need to find out how you feel about moving forward and planning to pass a resolution in November for a capital levy. Does that make sense? And it could be for different parts of the HVAC project, like, it could be part of that, or it could be what we looked at today, or something else. I should know by the end of the month. He told me today, within 2 weeks, he could give me a ballpark number. That he was going to come back out with an engineer, and he's the architect. He's going to bring an engineer with him, and he would be able to come up with a number on how much it would cost to do the cuts that we looked at today. But he's obviously significantly under $1 million.
How soon?
I know.
Yeah, I think we run it in February.
Yeah.
I like the 3 years because, we're pretty transparent with our taxpayers, and we want to pretty targeted things. We've got some work to do with this building, and we're gonna lose it, so we need to. And other things other than just the walls, we got roof repair to do, drainage. So yeah, that's my thought. I agree.
On board.
So we just gotta, by November, we have to have the resolution, and they help us write the resolution. We just need to tell them, like how much it's gonna cost and what we're gonna do. Then they write it all up and then it's approved. You kind of went through the whole process. What I'm handing you here is like the legal document that we send to school. But the summary is by November 40th, we have to approve it. So it's in the books by December 12th. Has to have the project description. And we're supposed to appoint people to be on the for and against committee. Remember that one? And whether it seems to me it was either last time or the time before that we were given a financial hardship.
It was the last one.
And that's and so then if you don't have you don't have to do the for and against, then there's an explanatory statement, and he said he could write that for us also. So between now and November, we have to check with the county to see if we still have that financial hardship. I think most schools in the county can see that their financial hardship. Justify it.
Well, things have changed with the capital levy in general. Because the way the state's reduced our funding, we don't have any extra money to spend on things like this. So, yeah, so we have to do, the capital levies need to be an everyday thing for us because of how the state's been doing it, so.
Okay, well, we'll start working on it then. Start, we'll probably start with Craig, but then maybe next month we can talk about other, we'll try to have something ready for you next week about other possible things that could be on the resume. And we're probably looking at 1.1 million again.
Yeah.
To get.
That keeps the tax rate pretty consistent. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
I think just to tackle what's ahead of us, we should. As well.
You don't even know once he digs into some of the stuff, there could be more damage that, once you start digging into it, you don't really know.
Well, the other thing that's possible is this here is there's a grant that they told us about today, it's called the emergency repair grant, and we're gonna look into that too. And they did say today that there was money in that, and I think there's a deadline on that, it's coming up. So, we would use that, I will apply for that too. So,
Yeah, I think it's like October 1st, so we'll have to, or not October 1st, sorry, November 1st.
yeah, there is money in that too, so there's a couple different avenues. But if we got that, then I guess we have to, I'm not sure how the timing and all that's gonna fit together. If we got notification that we got the grant, and so we're gonna have to have some other financial, other things that we can spend the money on other than just. Like emergency repairs. And when I talked to Hunter last week, he felt that, and I sent him the pictures of the cracks that we looked at today, and he felt that we should apply for the emergency grant.
And it looks like all the woodwork on the whole school needs to be redone.
But we haven't run a bond since, my understanding, we haven't run a bond since 1970. We've done all the repairs and capital levy. And we started in about 2012, so we started doing capital, or 2010 or 2012 for capital levies, but it was a long time between 1978 and 2010. The only money we had coming in was just the regular deal. But that was back when we were making $600,000 a year on this area.
We had no funding.
Had more money. Okay, well, and I also, as far as the project we're on right now, I've asked Marshall and both Greg for a new substantial completion date. Still waiting for it.
Is that for capital? Okay.
If you guys wanted to talk about, I gave you guys this spreadsheet of where we're at with the capital fund.
Yes.
Right now, that $265,000 on the far right is what we've spent on the corridor project so far. So that leaves our, after I ran the budget status report, our fund balance is up $481,000. And looks like we received about $110,000 every fall. So that's where that's gonna put us. Mangum expense left to them is $323,000. And then I threw in the $25,000 for other expenses, might be more, might be less. I don't know. So that's kind of leaving our fund balance $243 after the corridor project. But it'll be over 200. So I was just thinking, as you guys were talking about the brick repair, because Jeff and I were talking earlier, the actual holes in the walls where you can see outside in the science room, and if we have to do some repairs before winter or to just kind of patch it up before then, that we would have some money to do that.
That's great.
Good.
No. Good with capital. Safety. We're safe.
We're gonna have a fire drill this week. We tested E3 during ED and not everybody's worked. We'll test it next week. do our fire bill. I think I haven't done that, but to add Jeff to the E3 so he can add people too. We know it isn't attached to law enforcement yet, that's the next step. I've sent 2 emails to have them do that, and fortunately, because we did trigger an actual event, it isn't hooked up yet.
Okay.
Okay.
It was kind of fun. It was kind of fun for about 30 seconds until Jeff knew that it wasn't hooked up yet. It's good.
We're also looking at new radios, just for the radios we do have that we use every day, are pretty old, battery chargers don't work anymore, but we have certain that are broken. So we're looking at that, we can contact the USB and this will help us. We're hoping to purchase something this fall. And then we do have, we're supposed to have, as part of our safety plan, we're supposed to have ways for EMTs and fire people to get into the building. And so we're supposed to have boxes where there's a key or a combination or something. And the emergency, Logan County Emergency Department was awarded a grant to provide every school with 2 boxes. And they emailed the guy the other day about bringing the other boxes because we were told this summer that they got the grant.
He has the boxes. He just hasn't got it sorted out yet, because Officer Miller, yeah, was here the other day when you weren't here, and he actually called Matt. And it was the day of the superintendent's meeting. And I said, well, the superintendents are all there, you could go hand them out right now, and he wasn't up for that. So. They're here, they're just not here, that it's told.
Great.
Knox boxes.
Our stuff,
See, I learned.
that's what I want for
It's part of the safety.
Okay.
That's a sign.
They need that. Love how big that is.
Technology.
So we ordered a couple more Promethean boards. They kind of dropped in price. I think the better way to think of it is instead of a Cadillac, you're able to buy a Chevy now with the same kind of stuff. So we're able to get a couple more of those to finish off the teachers who wanted them. We did the wiring upgrades, are good and finished. So if we want to move ahead with the camera project, and we're ready to move ahead with the camera project, we'll be able to do that, as well as if we go to IP phones, we'll now have the infrastructure to do that without it being a problem. So, yeah, any questions on that? Okay. Athletic side, full swing. Girls high school had their first game last week and then played again tonight. And then junior high opened the season tonight. So the girls, I found out, they lost to Dayton tonight. Junior high girls won. So kind of off to a good start. Didn't quite get the uniforms to the junior high in time. We got them from Jostin, so Harm's actually bringing them home tonight from them. So we'll have them for the game on Wednesday, which will be good. So, but yeah, nine girls out for high school, 10 out for junior high. 4 boys going to Colfax for football. They've opened well. They played a JV game tonight. We had a couple kids playing in that one. Had them play Friday night as well up at Kettle. So I think it's going well. Talking to them, they seem to be enjoying it. So
Great.
waiting to see on numbers for basketball. Just high school wise, we're right on that number. If one kid doesn't want to do it, we've got like 5 kids, and it's really tough to say, hey, we'll come play and then bail on every game because we don't have enough. It really burns bridges for the future to be able to do something like that. So junior high working on that. Boys wise, if we might have to run a co-ed team. So we do co-ed, like Harrington had to do that a few years ago, that we need to play boys side, not girls side. So we'd have to get that organized for November to make sure everybody knows. Because we only had 2 girls last year go play. The 2 Waddell girls were the only 2 we had go over, and we only have 1 boy go over last year. But there's a few more interested, so I think we can maybe get that picked out. Any questions on that specifically?
We just want, just have a deadline so that way we don't miss the schedule. If we have enough, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I already told high school wise, like we play independent and we schedule JV games kind of like we're doing with sort of what we're doing hybrid volleyball, that we didn't want to be on a schedule because I don't want to add us in and then not have that. So I just figured that way. Junior high is a lot easier because you don't play any non-league games. So you just kind of modify it and put in a bye for whatever date and rework the schedule because it's still the same schools and nobody's getting like a random team again, no random game against Lynn Ritzville or, DeSales. It's just the same schools. So it's a lot easier to do it on junior high than high school. The other thing, Doug and Tanya were on the meeting for the WIA. Who was running that today? So WI has updated some stuff. I included that in the packet. It's nothing new, but WI is kind of cracking down on some stuff. They're having a lot of issues with schools claiming I don't know, and then just ejections and just stuff not like schools not being in compliance. And they're having to deal with spending a lot of time on that. So their theory now is just start fining schools for not completing what needs to be done. So kind of holding the schools accountable. My thing is, like, we had already heard this, like they heard it today, but I had heard it 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. It's not really anything where if you're in compliance, it's not really that big of a deal. So if you're going to the meetings, you're making sure your coaches get stuff done, you're holding your fans and your coaches accountable for their actions, you're not going to have a lot of fines because you're doing what is required of you. It's mainly trying to clean up the schools that aren't doing it. And I know there's some schools that are upset about it, especially with some of the budget things that are going on in small schools, but that's really what it's meant to do, is holding the schools accountable to actually do it, which I think is good because they're constantly involved in lawsuits now anymore between eligibility and coaches claiming this. And then you'll have something where something happens and they'll be like, oh, we had no idea that was a rule and it was covered in the trainings for the year. And it was very obviously covered in the trainings. And so I'm not particularly worried about any of it because like I cut my vacation short and came back and went to it. We did have one school in our district get hit with the $500 fine for not attending the regional conference. So, but they're kind of given a year for the coaches ones. Any of the AD related ones you can get hit with this year. So.
Playing football got off to a fine start. A lot of fun. Play around the kids. And I think on the board, they're gonna try to play on the line.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, the last game's at like 7 o'clock.
Play at 5 and then turn around and play again at 7. But there's a lot, I think you got a little video, it was fun. A lot of people.
The field looks great. Don't worry. Yeah, I saw that they were out there. Parks and Recs, yeah, appreciates.
Jeff is there taking pictures and it looked like official deal.
Well, reps
Some
did
people
good.
thought it was really cool, just even the community, that we were using our field and that it was being used and stuff.
That's great.
There's a lot for.
She said it was like 50, but then she was having a hard time making some teams.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of kids.
But
Which
there's
is
a lot
awesome.
of kids in general playing like football and soccer.
Yeah.
Because it was all on that one night, and there was quite a bit of people there.
That's good.
The youth stuff's going really well.
Well, it's good for the communities too. The parents in different towns are all talking, It's like having a concession stand, it gives it kind of a social, feel to it too. So like kids when we played St. John, they're mixing it up.
Good. Yep, that was good. Really good.
Okay, on the legislative thing, the only thing I have for you, it's not really a legislative thing, but the WASDA conference this year is in Seattle. I'm not gonna push anybody to go, it's really expensive, especially when you're staying in Seattle.
I had a postcard there somewhere, if you guys want to look at it, it's about the lost conference.
I think I
saw it.
I-
If you want to take it, they can.
Okay. I saw it somewhere.
You guys may have gotten one in the mail.
I think I did get
Yeah, I
some
think I
mail
got
too.
something in the mail too.
And if you look through the.
Oh, yeah, maybe emailed.
They don't have all the breakout sessions written up yet. You guys get this. Anyway, it's in Seattle, which means that everything's 4 times expensive. If you want to go, there has been a couple of years where I went and was over there or didn't. Yeah, I'm not gonna volunteer to go, but if you want me to go, I can learn it. The one thing that's always been good when I go is the law conference. But, you know, with it's expensive, so if you want to kind of save some money too.
What's the date of it?
It's the 20th through the 22nd. I know that,
Is it November?
I know that this year with all the schools that are cutting back, you know, that I think.
There is a Zoom option that, because I got one for another conference today that I think I would like to do, but there's a Zoom option. And it's 2 days in October, so I'm wondering if that one is a Zoom option.
No, that's a good point, I'll ask.
Okay.
Because a couple of years ago, when you won, order of distinction, you know, there was a Zoom option for that, at least that ceremony. Because we didn't go over and get a report over there, had to manage those members. So that'd be a good Zoom option. Because if there's a Zoom option, I'd rather do that. Rather than spend the money to go stay in a hotel and this is really expensive over there.
There's a Zoom option that would benefit. Yeah.
I mean, so, yeah, I'll look into that.
Anyway.
But I did want to make sure you knew about it.
I don't know how else to do that. All right, that's it for ledge. Principal's report.
Pass down. There's one right there. I know you want to read this front and back and sideways and burn it and all the things, right?
Like, I
Or
have like
down and over here.
50 minutes.
Do I do it? Oh, you have to go to those tests tomorrow. Okay. I know you do.
I know, right? All right. I went back to the format that I had before. I was a little slacker last month, so I was a little slacker today too, because I just did this today, so it's done. We had two really good PD days the first of the school year. We were engaged. I thought they went really well. Leadership team is working with Stephanie Dietrich this year. So we do like one of our early releases will be leadership team led, and then the next one will be like the next one after. This week is leadership team based, and the next month's will be, what is her name? From the library that does STEM training. So that will be like somebody that comes out from the outside will do every other one. But the leadership team is going to do every other one. It was, a big piece of it was they want them to be working, like actually doing things instead of just listening. And so this month, we're gonna do, people bring their laptops and their stuff. We're gonna make sure everybody has sub-binders created so that they're kind of consistent. If somebody goes into Jeff's classroom, it'll kind of look the same as going into somebody else's classroom with rosters and all the things that should be available in there. I think it'll look good. We're also working on creating a simple behavior matrix If you look at the third page, there's one for the school, and we're going off of CATS. Character, accountable, teamwork, safety. And this is, actually did this during PD, and it's all positive. It's not, don't do this, it's more act this way here. And so for all these places, we have some expectations, and those will be going up on the walls. And then on the back side of it is an example of what a classroom one will look like. That's the first and second grade classroom, and that's what her classroom expectations will be. So hopefully it'll look the same, any classroom that we go in with their given expectations for their classrooms. And then we're going to, we've been working on, a goal this year is to create systems and to create a consistent behavior system. So from the behavior matrix, we're going to have a behavior form when somebody does something, and it'll even say whether it was classroom taken care of or if they had to send them to me, that it'll give us more data about the wins and the wheres and what's going on, kinds of things. Next step's a connection survey. After school pictures come back, we're going to create a survey that students take and partner with staff. Who do you connect with? And then one that staff takes, what students do you feel like you connect with? So we can make sure that all students are connected with at least one staff member. And that's it for that portion.
So the students are doing that too?
Yeah, it'll go both ways. Yeah. Safety, I said something about 8.3. It had some flaws, so we're gonna work on that. The ESD crisis team came out last Monday. It's nice to know that they're there if we need them. We had an amazing team come together in our time of crisis. It was just, everybody stepped up. Today we had a behavior specialist come out to observe a couple of kids that we have in the elementary school. She's going to give recommendations on how best to deliver instruction and respond to the inappropriate behaviors that we're seeing. She was very positive. Doug sat in there with me. She's going to be a huge asset. She can come back out and help guide the teachers through things if we need her to. I think it was just a great day for that. And both students that I wanted her to monitor were both here, and she spent some considerable amount of time with both. So I thought it was really good. And next steps, ensuring that E3 is connected to law enforcement. And then once we receive the recommendations from the behavior specialist, she said she'd give it to me the next few days. We'll have the team, the teacher, the parent, and myself get together to form kind of an informal behavior plan. We're not going to make it a true static behavior plan, but just so that we're all on the same page. Because there's some things that need to be consistent to make sure those behaviors are under control. Planning with data. Spring SBA scores are in. Cody has all the scores in. One of the next steps for the leadership team will be how do we use the data. And then also get a better understanding of behavior data with our new reporting forms. Maybe some professional development on interpreting and applying data to instruction. So, and a way to get students bought into their data. You know, what does it mean? Why am I taking this test? And if we get some little bit more ownership with the kids, that we can make it more meaningful. Aligning curriculum. Math, Mark's using illustrative math. It's free, that's a good thing. Math 6, Math 7, 8, Algebra 1 and 2, and it's aligned to the standards. It's actually what the ESD is recommending anybody that asks for curriculum ideas. Next, and then we purchased Mystery Science at the elementary level. They'll be using that for all their science, and it's aligned to standards as well. Always working towards TK to 12 vertical alignment, so making sure what needs to be taught at each level is, and how do we make sure that it's being assessed as well. And then Tanya and I have been working Like, if it's curriculum, putting it in the curriculum pot, if it's just trying to get more consistency with what belongs where, to see what we actually are paying for curriculum-wise. Improving the instruction, I've had one-on-one conversations with most of the staff to discuss their goals for this year. Intentionally using instructional methods, so when I do PD or when the leadership team does PD, we're going to roll it out with instructional methods that can actually be used in the classroom to kind of do some modeling of that. And I've been available to go into classrooms and teach my way, I guess, just for them to see another way. I just think it's good though, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna be able to go in and pop into classrooms so they can watch other teachers too. I think that's just, I think collaboration is the best way we can learn anything. And next steps, by the end of October, student growth goals. I need to have those going, so I'll be having meetings with everybody. Managing resources, Sonia there, she's helping me learn about money. And, kind of working together to figure it out and be as responsible as we can. And I've been working with Alyssa. We're gonna work on some grants, trying to find out what direction we're gonna go. And not just go a direction the kids want. So we did talk to Odessa and Wilbur the other day about their drone education programs that they're doing. But it's not worth it to us if the kids don't want to do it. So we're trying to get somebody out so that they can see what that looks like. And there's other directions we can go. I was gonna pull up the pictures. Alyssa did a great job at that CNC training. She made 3 different things that are pretty cool. Something made out of like a plexiglass that says LaCrosse-WA and it sits in a blue light bar so it lights up. A plastic cutting board was cut out with it. Oh, and then there was something like it's like a really pressed particle board almost, but it's super pressed. And it's got a landscape in it. It's just really pretty. So she learned a lot. We also have a new student that is a senior this year that has experience on the plasma cutter. So we're hoping to use him as like a mentor to get that going up and going too. So we've got some things going out there. She's doing a great job. Engaging families and communities. I went through and listed everything we did last year and I gave it to teachers. I got about 3 back, but I got some back. So that's a plus of what they wanted to still do this year. And there were some that people crossed off and I'm good with that. And some were like, yeah, we're still having muffins with moms and we're still having donuts with dudes and we're still having a mother-daughter dance and we're still, or father-daughter dance, sorry, whatever that is, dance. Whoever will come with you dance. And the only thing I will say that we want to add definitely in the spring is we talked about a touch and truck event, some sort of event so that we can get littles in here so we have more of an idea about preschool. And maybe have screening available at it too. And then something else I'm big on is that we need to do a community needs survey. A lot of times the grants will ask for that. I've been talking with Eric Sabota and Reardon just because I know he's done 4 million of them with different companies. There are some that are really expensive and high end and I don't think we need that. I just don't know how to do it myself, but he's connected me with someone that will either mentor me or she'll do it for a really low cost. So that's good.
This goes out to the whole community?
Yeah,
not
go out,
just-
not just parents, it'll
Parents,
go out
okay.
to the entire community, yeah. And I can give you some examples of the ones that Reardon sent out so you can see what they were. And theirs were even a capital project they sent out to the whole community to see that what would come back. Sometimes other people's perspective shows things that we don't know. So it's kind of interesting. I'm a believer they're paying my salary. So I think they'll listen a little, at least take their perspective into account. Closing the gap, I'm still working on a school improvement plan. And that's where we're gonna find the gaps, and that's it for that. The only other thing that I attached there was the last pages. We're going to pretty structured, every meeting we have, every PD we have is gonna be outlined like this, so we know what we're doing. Whether it's just sharing or, more formal and timed, and so not that it has to go to this time and you're done, buzzer beat, no. But at least gives us more structure in the things that we're doing. And the norms on the front of it were actually, it was a collaboration of the whole staff that came up with these norms. And what our data sources will be, and we always ask for feedback at the end of any meeting or any PD. Last note, there is a service on Friday at 3 p.m. in Colfax. It is somewhat non-traditional, where instead of like a sing, pray, sermon thing, it's more of a get up and talk about the students. We haven't really talked how we're gonna roll it out with students. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm kind of in still the fog. But I offered today for us to host a meal, and they took us up on it. So Friday, I've secured the community club, and between 5 and 5:30, we'll be hosting for 60 people. So they were very happy that we put out that offer to them. I've been working with Craig at the funeral home to make sure that we're coordinating things and making sure that, I just need to make sure that if my kids go, that they know what they're going to see. So, anyway, I thought I needed to add that, because you guys need to know what's going on too. Any questions?
All right,
Done?
thank you.
Thank you.
Financial report.
So we ended 24-25 school year, which is kind of it's just kind of a weird time because you're working in both 24-25 and you're starting 25-26. One thing though is our fund balance, we are ending it higher than I had projected. So we're ending it at 470, 473.93. And that's where I was going with that. We have not received our athletic bill from SJ St. John or Endicott yet. I know it's going to come, it's, usually 40,000 a year. They're not gonna let that go, so I'm just kind of waiting. I know there's been a lot of changes over there too. They've got a new business manager, Endicott's having ESDs doing some of their stuff, so just need them a little bit of time. So I guess when you look at that bottom line and where we're ending, we need to take the 40,000 off that to really know where we're gonna end. But it's above 400, so I was happy with that. Catch bases, like we already kind of talked about capital. So you can see where we're at with that. Not much ASB, it's not normal, I guess. Okay, transportation. So originally we were going to get our buses in September. They are now not coming until November. So, we ended with that 228 and or 352,000, 353 almost. Once the buses come, that's gonna knock about $250,000 off of that. So. This was the big bill nut. So if you're looking at your our general fund bills, our insurance was 90,000. So yeah, so we spent 131,000, almost 132,000 on general fund bills this month. but the majority of it was our insurance bill. The good news is they didn't increase it much from last year, and I was shocked. They kind of put us in that lower risk category. So instead of, like, remember last year, they had it at 4, 3, 2, and 1, and they put us kind of right in the middle. This year, they put us kind of on lower risk stuff, so it wasn't as much as we thought. Really, that's mine. I don't. We're starting off next school year so far. I've done AP, I've run payroll for September just because I'm wanting to be prepared. I've already told Teresa and Doug, and I'll share it with everybody else, that once Lindsay has the baby, I plan on taking some time off, and I'll be here in the mornings, evenings, but I plan on being with her during the day. So I've been trying to catch up and just make sure that September's done, and I will be able to take my laptop and stuff with me. But I feel like we're done good start to the year, and so far what I've seen, payroll, September's always huge payroll because we have those 2 PD days. But we're kind of on par with what we budgeted, so I think we're on a good track.
That's great. Bill, good. Good. All right. They have a motion to approve payroll and bills.
I move we approve August payroll and September bills, total amount of $404,746.66.
It's been moved and seconded to approve August payroll and September bills in the amount of $404,746.66. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, pay the bills. And with that, we'll be moving into executive session authorized under RCW 42.30.171G for the purpose of evaluating an application for public employment and reviewing performance of a public employee. No final action on these matters will be taken during the executive session for 15 minutes. Yeah.
That one